And now to honor the Reverend Don Lincoln, I'd like to invite Elder Ed McFalls to come forward.
Thank you. My name's Ed McFalls, and I am the Clerk of Session here at Westminster, and it is a privilege and an honor for me to rise to celebrate and honor the 22-year ministry among us here of Reverend Don Lincoln, both a colleague and a good friend on this time. And I'll stick to the script to both be not so emotional and keep it short. Don Lincoln is a native of Cincinnati, Ohio, where he grew up in the Westminster Presbyterian Church, the church of his baptism, his confirmation, and his ordination, the only congregation of which he was ever a member. That congregation planted the seed of ministry in Don when they asked him during his high school years to teach a third grade Sunday school class during the summer. And then again after his freshman year at college when they asked him to take part as a youth minister in the church and lead in ministry. Don graduated from the Miami University of Oxford, Ohio with a BS in music education in 1977 and received his Master of Divinity in 1980 from Princeton Theological Seminary. During college and seminary, Don served 6 different churches doing youth and young adult ministry. Once ordained, the first 10 years of Don's call were as associate pastor at Trinity Presbyterian in Charlotte, North Carolina, stated supply pastor of Stevenson's Presbyterian Church in Monroe, North Carolina, an associate pastor at First Presbyterian of Roanoke, Virginia. Don was then called as the first installed pastor of Christ Our Anchor Presbyterian, a new church development in Annapolis, Maryland, where he served his next 10 years of ministry. While there, he developed a passion for emerging missional church movement as well as multiple styles of worship. Don formed and led the congregation's worship band, and the addition of a contemporary worship service doubled the church's attendance in the next 12 months. He was called here as head of staff at Westminster in Westchester in August of 2000. Don's ministry at Westminster was marked by many accomplishments and achievements. Additions of worship services, new worship styles, expansion of communion offerings, significant expansion to our parking lot, the development of Cafe 10 West for fellowship, improved website and social media connections, our first full-time communications director. We became an Earth Care congregation. We became a Matthew 25 congregation. And he started live streaming 2 years before the pandemic. Most importantly, Don had impact. His messages and leadership pushed Westminster to action in many ways. Highlighting one of those, which is most appropriate today, is that early in his tenure on the Board of Trustees at Princeton Seminary, he and his fellow trustees studied Edward Baptist's book, The Half Has Never Been Told, about slavery, its part in making America an economic power, but its utter exploitation of generations of enslaved peoples. Long before George Floyd's death, Don was preaching on, pressing our leaders, encouraging mission considerations, and leading Westminster in a forward consideration of racial justice in our modern society. He made a difference. Don retired from Westminster on July 30th, 2022. Don was a volunteer hospital chaplain in each community in which he served. He says his most meaningful mission experience was helping install a water filtration system in Honduras. He was the first and youngest moderator of the newly formed Presbytery of the Peaks in Virginia. Don has been volunteer staff at every General Assembly of the PCUSA since 1989, serving as resource coordinator, committee assistant, assistant to the moderator, and as platform manager. Don served at PCUSA at the national level on the General Assembly Council, the Church Vocations Unit, and the Board of Directors of the Board of Pensions. He is currently in his 10th year on the Princeton Theological Seminary Board of Trustees. Don is also currently the Dean of the Community of Pastors, a cohort of 25 heads of staff serving large PCUSA congregations. As is Leah, who is our new pastor. Don is married to Linda, a native Philadelphian who retired as VP of Human Resources at the Board of Pensions of the PCUSA. Don and Linda enjoy cooking, music, sailing, visiting the Jersey Shore for reasons that escape my understanding, and traveling internationally. Don has 2 adult children, a son, Andrew, in Annapolis, and a daughter, Sarah Hope, in Cleveland. Don has already begun to rekindle his love of fly fishing in retirement, and he and Linda have enjoyed sitting together in a pew for a change, having already worshiped in congregations in Donegal, Newcastle, and Philadelphia Presbytery since retiring in July. Don, we are eternally grateful for your service. We have been blessed as a congregation with your 22 years of wonderful leadership, your guidance of our session and our trustees and the way you touched and ministered to so many people in our congregation. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
These gifts and an appreciation from our presbytery, my friend. Well done.